It's okay if you started the first half not really locked in, not really doing as much as you said you would, as long as you get to the point where you say, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't do what I said I was going to do, but now I'm about to make a change. Now I'm really about to lock in and I'm going to do something because I'm not about to leave this year with nothing. I'm leaving here with something. If the first half of 2025 did not go as planned for you, let this video be your reset. I want this video to serve as the pep talk that we all need right now. We are now in the month of July, and I know for a lot of people, this is a very, very hard time because this is the time where a lot of people finally realize, oh, the year is getting away from me. This is the time where a lot of people start looking back at their 2025 goals or whatever year you may be watching this and think to themselves, I really didn't lock in the way I said I would back in January or maybe even back in December of last year. So whether you're feeling behind, unmotivated, or discouraged, let this be your sign that it is not too late. Let this be your sign that the second half of the year can be completely different. If this is your first time here, hey girl, welcome to the channel. My name is Trinity and I make videos pretty much helping you to become your best self, the woman of your dreams. We're all about self-improvement, personal development over here. So if you like that kind of content, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who you feel like may need it. You've come to the channel at the perfect time because all month, in the month of July, we are going to be focusing on reclaiming 2025. Every single week this month, I'm going to be putting out a new video to help you with your mid-year glow up. Like I said before, this mid-year point is the point where a lot of people start to count themselves out. This is the point where a lot of people give up on the dreams and the goals that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year, because a lot of people start to feel defeated. You look back and you say to yourself, wow, 6 months have passed and I don't really have anything to show for it. I didn't do anything that I said I was going to do in these past 6 months. In this video in particular, we're going to be deep diving into how to reset your mindset in order to make the next 6 months better than the last 6 months. As I reflect on the last few years, I've noticed that I seem to get this big ball of energy around this time of year. Like, I know I said this is a time where a lot of people actually do the opposite and they get discouraged and they just stop everything. But I tend to see this time as a fresh start. It's kind of like another new year in my opinion, because it's a great time, the perfect time to reflect on what did not go as planned in the beginning of the year. What's not working, how you can pivot, what you can do differently in order to change the trajectory of your year. I find that I get a little bit more excited about my goals around this time than the beginning of the year because, in my opinion, we tend to set more realistic goals and be more realistic with our plan, which is essential for success, when we have less time. Sometimes when you're setting your goals for the whole entire year, you feel like you have so much time and you try to cram in so much into 12 months. And while it is nice to dream big, while it is nice to set big goals and sometimes be unrealistic, sometimes be delusional, a lot of us have this habit of overwhelming ourselves with a bunch of things to the point where we end up not really doing anything. Personally, I find that when I get to June, July, and I start thinking about the second half of the year, because I'm not looking at it like, okay, I have 12 months, I have a whole year, 365 days to accomplish whatever I want to accomplish. I'm more strategic when it comes to prioritizing. I think when you have a big timeline, you tell yourself, okay, I have mad time, I have plenty of time, more than enough time, so I'm going to do this, and this. You have a list of like 15 different things that are really going to take a lot of your energy. And because all those things take up so much energy, so much time, so much planning, so much preparation, you do nothing. So this is really the perfect time to think about what you want to accomplish by December 31st and prioritize. You're able to look at that list of things and say, okay, how much of this stuff do I really feel like I need to accomplish before this year is over? Like, what's going to make me feel the most accomplished? What's going to make me feel the most successful? Realistically, what can I do in the next 6 months? It's harder to prioritize when you feel like you have an abundance of time. Like, think about it. It's the same concept as getting ready. Like, let's say you have a party to attend one night and you have 3 hours until it's time for you to leave out. You start to feel like, oh, I got so much time, I can take a nap, I can do this, I can do that. Because there's so much opportunity, because there are so many options of things for you to do, you end up really scrambling at the very last minute to get out the door. So while sometimes having a lot of time is a blessing, it can also be a hindrance because you start to cram in more things than necessary. So first, before we really deep dive into the mindset shift that needs to occur at this time in order for you to have a successful second half of 2025 or whatever year you're watching this again, I want to talk about letting go of guilt and shame, because I know that's something that a lot of us are feeling at this time. And I'm not gonna lie, I've actually had a few of these moments recently. I noticed that I kept saying to myself, girl, you said you were going to do XYZ in 2025, and what have you done? Where have you gotten? What have you actually accomplished? Look at your vision board. How much of this stuff have you actually gotten done? And I was kind of down in the dumps a little bit, and then I had this realization, like, I don't have to feel guilty or shameful for not being where I thought I would be. Because at the end of the day, while we can do the work, we don't necessarily have control of everything. Like, yes, there are some things that are in our control, but there are also a lot of things that are out of our control. Yes, you can set goals, you can set deadlines for yourself, you can make a vision board for how you want your year to go. Yes, you can do all those things, but you cannot predict exactly how your year will go. There are things that are out of your control. Some things will happen that will make you lose momentum. It'll make you feel a little bit discouraged. You won't be motivated all the time. You're going to experience setbacks. You're going to experience burnout because things come up. And yes, we have to learn how to work through things, but we also have to get to a point where we're able to accept where we are. And that doesn't mean get complacent. It just means this is my reality right now. What am I going to do with where I am right now? Life gets busy, unexpected things happen, sometimes you lose momentum, but those things do not equal failure. Yes, you may have set all these goals for yourself at the end of last year or at the beginning of this year, but when you set those goals, you didn't know that a lot of things that may have happened so far in 2025 were going to happen. You weren't expecting to lose that family member. You weren't expecting to go through that breakup. You weren't expecting to lose friends. You weren't expecting to get laid off of your job. You weren't expecting to run into some financial issues that made you have to postpone a lot of other things that you had in the works. Life happens. And I know everyone always talks about how
you have to learn how to push through all those things.
And yes, it's true, but it's not easy. It's a hard thing to do. I really had to sit down one day and just say to myself, yeah, you had big plans for this year, and no, you didn't lock in the way you thought you would. You didn't lock in the way you said you would, but you also weren't expecting a lot of these things that happened to happen. And I also had to tell myself, sitting here feeling guilty about it and having all the shame around it is not going to make you do anything different. You have to accept what you did, how you moved, how you didn't lock in, accept your reality, accept where you are now, accept what has not happened yet, and figure out a plan, formulate a plan based off of where you are right now. You are not in the place that you were when you set those goals. That doesn't mean that the goals change. You just have to figure out how you're going to navigate in order to make the things happen that you want to still happen. I kind of touched on this a little bit a few minutes ago, but I want to go back to this point because I feel like this is something that a lot of people need to hear. A lot of you may be feeling guilt or shame for not accomplishing all the goals that you set because you set way too many goals for this year. Now, I don't want you to take that the wrong way. You should have a bucket list of things that you want to accomplish, but not everything has to be done this year. Some of that stuff sounded nice, but it didn't necessarily have to be done this year. I was just listening to Mel Robbins' podcast as I was getting ready to film this video, and she actually touched on this, and it hit me like a ton of bricks because it's something that I am guilty of sometimes. She was talking about how a lot of people feel lost in their 20s because they feel like they have to do everything in their 20s. They feel like they have to hit all these financial goals. They have to get married, have kids, travel, get the dream job, start the business. Like, we have so many options in our generation, especially with social media. We have so many options, so many choices that we end up doing nothing because we feel like we have to get it all done in our 20s, and you don't. Like, your 20s is just a small part of your life. Yes, you may have put the dream car on your vision board. Yes, you may have put that luxury apartment on your vision board. Yes, you may have put your dream home that you want to purchase this year. Yes, you may have put that you wanted to save $20,000. You probably put that you wanted to start the business. You probably put that you wanted to go back to school. Maybe you wanted to lose 50 pounds. Like, all these goals are nice. It's nice to have all these goals, but you don't necessarily have to get all that stuff done in 2025. Can you work towards all these things? Yes. Now, you don't necessarily have to, because sometimes, like I mentioned before, it's just a matter of prioritizing and figuring out, okay, what really needs my attention right now? What can I start with and actually finish and then move on to the next thing. Sometimes when you have a whole bunch of stuff in your mind or on your vision board or on your goals list, you start dibbling and dabbling in everything and you don't really become a master of anything. Everything is half done. That's something that I used to be a victim of. Half doing things instead of picking one task or two tasks, mastering those things, finishing those tasks, and then moving on to the next thing. I always say this whenever I talk about like the new year reset, but I think it's good to mention this in this video as well. You don't always have to finish out the year with the goal completed or the task completed 100%. Sometimes it's good enough to get to the end of the year and be able to say, okay, I'm on track with all of my goals. I didn't half do stuff and then stop in the middle of the year or stop a quarter into the year. No, I'm actively working on these things. Sometimes that's enough. There is so much power in a mid-year reset. Like I noticed that either my year starts off really good and I do very well in the first half of the year and then I fall off in the second half, or I don't really lock in the first half and then I all of a sudden switch gears around July and the second half of my year is great. It's normal, actually. Like, I think for me, I noticed that whenever the first half of my year is really, really good and I'm just in go mode, really locked in, sometimes I get too comfortable and I start feeling like, all right, I can relax a little bit now because I've accomplished a lot of stuff already. I don't really have to go that hard for the last half of the year. I don't really know if that's the best mentality to have, but I'm pretty sure that's what be going through my mind subconsciously. All of these things are normal. It's okay if you started the first half not really locked in, not really doing as much as you said you would, as long as you get to the point where you say, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't do what I said I was going to do, but now I'm about to make a change. Now I'm really about to lock in and I'm going to do something because I'm not about to leave this year with nothing. I'm leaving here with something. And that's the mentality that I want you to have now as we are entering July, as we are entering the second half of the year, the third quarter of the year. Because believe it or not, 180 days is more than enough time to change your life. 180 days is more than enough time to rewrite your story, whatever year you are watching this. Quarter 3 and quarter 4 give like second chance energy. July is such a powerful month because it's a great pivot point. Like you're halfway through the year, but it's also a fresh quarter. Like I said, we're in quarter 3 now that we're in July. I want you to think about your life like a book. Well, not even your whole life. Let's just say you should be thinking about every year like a book. I actually really think it's helpful to plan in quarters instead of just planning for a whole entire year, and we'll probably get into that in another video, but it helps you to think about your year as a book. That book has 4 chapters. You have quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Chapters 1 and 2, or quarters 1 and 2, might be a little messy. They're a little messy because you had all these ideas of what you wanted the year to look like, but you really didn't have full control to be able to predict exactly what that year was going to look like. So life starts throwing you curveballs, things start happening, setbacks start happening, and you start to realize
this looks nothing like what I had planned.
Quarter 3, or if we're thinking about it like a book, chapter 3 is where the main character starts fighting back. Like in chapters 1 and 2, life was probably stomping the main character with steel-toe boots on, and they were just laying there like,
oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this. What's happening? What's going on? This is not what I had planned for my life.
But that third quarter, that third chapter is where they're like, okay, I'm not about to just lay here and let life stomp on me. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna fight back. I'm gonna do something about it because I don't want my story to end like this. It may not have begun the way I wanted it to, but I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make sure it doesn't end the way it started. So then you finally get to quarter 4, or chapter 4, where the plot twist happens and you see, okay, I did what was necessary for my years to end off on a good note. I did what was necessary for me to actually feel accomplished and somewhat successful by December 31st. Regardless of how your year has gone so far, I don't want you to wait until January to start fighting back. I don't want you to wait until January for this fresh start. Your fresh start does not have to be on any magical date. Even if you're watching this and it's no longer July, maybe it's August, September, October, November even, it is not too late. You don't have to wait until a specific date to start something new or to change your story. You can literally start right now. There is no perfect time to do anything. The perfect time is when you decide you're gonna do it. The longer you wait, the more you lose energy, momentum, confidence. You might as well just start now. The good thing about life is, although it seems like bad things are always happening, although you may often feel like you're in a struggle or like you're powerless, there's always something that you can do to make progress. I think we're always thinking about the big picture. We're always thinking about getting to the end goal, and I say this all the time, but we have to really appreciate the journey, and we have to be okay with getting 1% better every day. Small progress is still progress. So even if whatever decision you decide to make today to change your life only gets you 1 to 2 steps further than where you are right now, that's much better than you being in this same spot by the end of the year. We have to be okay with taking small steps. You can decide at any moment, I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of this experience that I've been experiencing for God knows how long. I'm ready to make a change. You can make that decision at any moment and do something to get further than where you are right now. And the great thing is, you don't have to overhaul everything at once. You can also break your goals down into categories. Like if you don't want to focus on every single part of your life in the next 6 months, focus on what you want to focus on. Like maybe you want to just tackle your financial goals. Maybe one of your goals for the year was to get out of debt, and you feel like you can do that in the next 6 months. Do that. Even if you don't feel like you can be debt free in the next 6 months, still focus on your debt. Like if that's something that's important to you, just focus on the financial goals. If you want to be closer to God, maybe just focus on that for right now. Like start with building habits that allow you to accomplish that goal. That has been a big thing for me this year. So I really try not to beat up on myself when I think about all the big goals that I had for this year, because there are a lot of small things or seemingly small things that I actually have done. I have gotten so much closer with God this year, and if I'm being honest, I think that's the one thing, like if I had to focus on one thing that would really allow me to accomplish all the other things, it would be that. So I'm actually glad that I really honed in on that, although I didn't really lock in with the other things. I want you to give yourself the permission to begin again, to start over, to give yourself a clean slate, and to forgive yourself for starting and stopping or not even starting at all. Forgive yourself for abandoning goals, flicking on your routines, losing your spark, and losing momentum. It's okay, it happens. We are human. Every week while we're in this series, I'm going to give you a mini challenge, and this week's mini challenge is to choose one area of your life to reset. It could be your mornings, your environment, your routine, your mindset. Just pick one thing to reset, because I want us to get in the habit of focusing on one thing at a time, really sticking to that one thing, mastering that one thing, and then moving on to something else. Because while you may feel like success is doing a whole bunch of stuff, success is really mastering something, mastering at least one thing, finishing one thing, actually completing that thing. And then if you have the capacity or the time or the energy, you can add more things onto that. You don't want to have your hands in a whole bunch of stuff that you're not able to give your all to. Next week, we're going to be focusing on your vision for the rest of the year and goal setting. In week 3, we're going to be talking about habits and daily discipline. And in week 4, we're going to be talking about consistency and motivation. So again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you can be notified whenever I post a video. We don't want you to miss no videos, especially in this series. I'm so excited, not just for y'all, but for myself as well, because this is something that I really need. We gonna lock in. We gonna get some stuff done by December 31st. I don't want you to be discouraged by whatever you may have or have not accomplished so far this year. You can turn it around. It's all about being disciplined, being consistent, having a plan for your goals, and actually showing up for yourself. We're gonna deep dive into all that this month, and I'm so excited to lock in with you, girl. Again, make sure you share this video with someone who needs a little pep talk when it comes to reclaiming 2025, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.